is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, closet swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys that are here on free week really enjoy the week. And like I said previously, I hope you guys at least take something away from this week. Whether it's, you know what, real life trading is the place I need to be. This will help my growth. Whether you learn a new strategy, a new concept, you learn something from a moderator. I hope you learned how to grow either personally or financially, set yourself up in a better place to have a better future. But I hope you guys are all having a fantastic time this week. Let me get the different screen share on. Beautiful. We got Jay coming in. Good morning. We got Chris McCoy in the house. Marquis is in the house. Good morning. George is here. Enrico. Morning. Just subscribe for the all access pass. Hey, everybody. But I received the wrong invitation for Slack. Boo-hoo. Enrico, send me a quick message on, just because I don't know what your email is. Send me a quick message on to support@reallifetrading.com with the email that you subscribe to, and then I'll get you an email back to get you an invitation in. All right. Eric, good morning. Brian, good morning. We got Marcus in the house. Paul is here. Peggy's in the house. What is up? Jennifer, good morning. We got Clinton. Quantran? Is that your name, Quantran? That's a sweet name. Morning from Houston. We got Tim in Houston. We got Matt in here. First day walking on the treadmill. Oof. Nobody runs a marathon without at least walking first. I love it. That's how it works. Andrew, good morning. All right, guys are still piling in. We got Joe on YouTube says can't see nothing. I'm showing the screen on YouTube. Joe, can it still, was that from before? When it was a black screen for a minute? All right, no worries. Let's take a look. So we did have some key information today. We did have the jobs report come out today. And that one took the market down. Even though the numbers were actually pretty decent, they weren't. Jobs report was that bad. As far as the market, but you guys have all heard the famous quote, buy the rumor, sell the news. This was the news. So just strong run up. We'll get to DraftKings in a minute. But we did have a strong run up into today's job report. We got Roger. Marsha's in the house. Marsha. Sure, nobody's ever said that to you ever. Nope. Simon's here. What's up, Simon? All right. So we got SPY dipping. This has been a very big buy the dip market for the last 3 weeks, right? So I'm not going to count that one out. I think there could be some other people with that same general consensus. However, trying to find maybe a wave count in here somewhere. Trying to see if there's anything else I could see that would justify that this is the end of this little run. If I'm going to go with this being a 1, this is my 2, 3, 4, 5. This is my ABC potentially. And then we are dipping. Maybe. But I don't like this. I don't like this 1, 2, to be honest. That could be a decent 3, long enough for 3. That could be a 5. This could make sense as the ABC. That would make this VPOC right here very strong support resistance. So if that breaks down, that would probably become, if that is the wave count, if I'm just not playing games with my own eyes, 409.52. So somewhere in that zone, we are very close to it. However, I do think so. There's a thing in the market where it's like it has to be protected, or we just drop a lot more. So if I was bullish, if I'm in this market and I'm an institution, I think that's the zone that I really want to support. Otherwise, there's nothing really stopping me. I mean, the next level down is, but even the next levels down, they're all untested VPOCs. So we have 405.83. We get back to 396.49. And then I think at some point, 390.74 has to become retested. So if this is our wave count, the other thing, when we talked about this in the mentor group that I do as well. So here would be the uptrend, right? This was the break. This is the retest. This is probably a little overextended in a bullish direction, and we could start to see a little reversal of the market. So right now on the SPY, we're in between two probably key levels that have to break, and that would tell us so 410.92 to the upside, and somewhere in this 409, I'll call it 52, 55, whatever it is, to the downside. We might chop in there once we get a break of either of those. If we get a break to the higher side, we have a good range in the market today to probably come back, try to attempt to retest this 414.12 zone. And then to the downside, if we do break that 409.55, I think the SPY has room to reach potentially 405.96. So in both directions, we have some solid room to make some gains. Whichever way we break, I'm willing to play it. I know there's a lot of buy the dippers. I also know that this rally is very overextended as well. Paul says if we close below 408-ish on the daily, that will break the short-term uptrend. 408. You're talking about the SPY, right? Let me go back. SPY. First of all, it wouldn't be a break; it would be a close. Yeah. So you said that right. So if we close below there, yes, because that would be, I would say, the first dip. So we'd start to be making new lower lows, and then technically with this little pivot up here, this is actually a lower high as well. So we actually got up a little bit higher. Let me zoom in a little bit. We got up a little bit higher on this dip here, on this pivot, than we did here. So this is showing us that there is a little bit of weakness. There was some kind of strange resistance there yesterday. And now here's also, we watched the 10 EMA a lot. Again, it works on every time frame, but it's a very good, at least shorter term sentiment. This is our first time we're actually now really closing. We're actually really opening below the 10 EMA by massive amount. So we're well below that. That's going to even flip a lot of my stuff to, all right, if we rip, we're going to keep selling it until we get back to above that move. Enrique. I don't know why I keep calling Enrico. You sent me an email. Let me see. I did not get that one yet, Enrico. Support at reallifetrading.com. Enrico, if you want to just shoot me a message here in the chat, a private message with your email, and then I can get you on that way. But yeah, no, I didn't receive that email yet. Joe says SPY is a retest gap today, so might see. Yeah, so let's flip it over to the daily chart. And that's your email. Let me just copy this real quick. Copy. I gotta get Enrico in Slack. By the way, if you guys are not current members with Real Life Trading, so what we're talking about is when you get the all access pass, not only do you get 9 hours of content, but you also get access to Slack, which is pretty much, if you guys are unfamiliar with Slack, that's where all the traders get to kind of communicate with each other. We share charts, we share graphs, we do official setups, things like that. We ask questions. We have different channels in there. So we have channels for just options. We have channels for there's a channel just for trading AMD because a lot of traders like to trade AMD. So there is a lot of cool stuff in terms of that you would get as well. So Enrico, not in the trial. Yep. Not for the trial, just for the all access pass. When somebody actually becomes a member. I just sent you an email. You should be able to click that link and that should get you in there. Jobs and unemployment look good this morning. Yep, they did. They actually did not look horrible. But there was two sentiments, and I don't want to. We still have 20 minutes, so we got some time. But there's two sentiments going into it, which I can make a case for both. If the jobs numbers was bad, you would have the sentiment a little bit in the market saying, okay, well, now the Fed might not be raising rates as much, as often, or as largely. So they might stop raising rates, which that would actually be decent for the market. The numbers come out good. You're like, okay, well, the numbers, the economy could still be running strongly, right? And we might not be as bad as we thought. So the numbers were good. And I think more of the sentiment of, okay, well, now we're probably getting more of a rate hike. We're more likely to continue to see more rate hikes in the future. Hector's in the house. Spies a retest gap if we close below, and just make sure I didn't miss anything. Good morning, Dan. Do you include pre-market when you draw lines? You could. I will. That's a good question. So I will when I'm day trading. So meaning like if there's a stock I'm interested in. So if we're going through this list right now and there's a stock that I really like, I'll look at the pre-market, specifically my Thinkorswim, when we go back to it before I take the trade, just to see where we're at short-term basis, including pre-market. For right here, the first thing I want to do when I'm trading, especially to find stocks or find like which positions look stronger or which one should get some kind of momentum. I don't really need the pre-market. I have this little tab on here that tells me where we're at currently. But yeah, and then I'm looking for the non-extended hours is going to be a stronger wave count, but on a smaller time basis, the pre-market will count more. Yep. So if I was to place the order and I want to know where we are at in that actual current shorter term basis, then I will look for some pre-market just to get an idea if there's anything significant that I should be moving, especially if someone comes out on earnings and things like that. Qs are dropping down a little bit, nothing too crazy. First little support, I'd probably be looking at somewhere at the 317.17 zone. And then if we do drop past that one, somewhere in the 315.76. So again, we didn't, and on the daily chart, it is a gap and go, not too much crazy volume that came in yesterday. So yesterday was a smaller candle. The day before that was a larger candle with higher volume, and we're still hanging out inside there. So again, I don't really see too craziness, even though the market's down a decent amount. I don't see anything too crazy. Tesla is a retest gap, but on this retest gap, we do have our VPOC. We're now below 3 VPOCs, I think. This is actually a pretty significant gap. 1, 2, 3. And we're in a tight range between 409.13 and 909. I think I said 4. 904 and then 909. So somewhere in that range would be a little bit stagnant, I think. If we do break lower than the 903.42, my interest level will increase a lot on this one. But this one will qualify for a 10 EMA setup just because we are gapping outside of yesterday's range. So we can play it. It doesn't mean we have to go bullish or bearish. But again, we should have a decent amount of potential once we break the 909 range. Once we start breaking that 904 range, then the next level to the downside could put us at, 865. And then to the higher side, we'd be looking at maybe 925. So we actually get a lot more potential downside move than not on Tesla. But so I would like to lean more bearish, but I'll play the charts either way. As long as we're stuck in between that range, I'll be cautious at open, but it will qualify for the 10 EMA gap. NVIDIA has been on a straight up tear. We are gapping below yesterday's entire range. So this is another one that will qualify out of the gates. To the higher side, we're looking at 191.54. To the lower side, probably our first target would be 186.56. And then we have 185.85. So those two ranges, we don't have a lot of room to the downside on this one. It is a gap and go. Again, the volume wasn't that crazy yesterday, so it's not like we're trapping. If we had volume on this candle, like this volume here yesterday, all right, I think we'd be trapping a lot more people. But right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and let's go 5.5 since we're kind of in this range. Probably 5 3/4 of people still buying, still profitable on this thing. So, if anything, I don't think we see panic selling yet. If anything, we probably see some kind of on this one. I do probably see a buy the dip opportunity if it does dip down into the 185.85 range. I'd actually look to go long on NVIDIA and then see if we could bounce If it does come a little bit lower than that, 181.82, and that would kind of match up with a 10 EMA on the daily. That would also match up with the previous VPOC. So we'll be patient, but it will. It is technically a gap and go. So sentiment would be a little bit more to the bearish side, but I don't think we're really trapping that many people. Not yet, anyway. 75 is done for the next meeting. They have to get inflation down. Yeah, I think the one goal of the Fed right now, the only concern they have is to get inflation down. And even in a recession, which, I mean, we are in I don't care what they say, we're in a technical recession. However they want to redefine it is up to them. But a lot of times once we hit recession, they start to slow down on increases and they start lowering it. I actually think if we get into a recession, they might actually continue to raise it because we've had, how many years was it? I think like 15 years of zero hikes, and then just printed a massive amount of money into the economy. So I think it's very tough to unwind and undo all that within a short 6-month period. So I think we do have to go a little extended, which I don't think we've seen since like 1984, something like that. Yep, DraftKings is popping on. Hector says it's transitory. Enrico is in. BEA, beautiful. All right, so we got AMD. It is gapping down again. We have a little bit of support at 99.79. Lots and lots of days in a row. Some decent volume yesterday. More than the video. So I think we are trapping a little bit. But if we're being honest with ourselves, we're still at about a 50% retrace of yesterday. I would probably venture to go to the hourly chart on this one, and then we'll see if we could actually draw a fib where this move actually started and ended. So let's do that real quick. Just get a quick idea of where 618 of this move is, because the direction is still bullish. We're still stair stepping up. I'm not going to freak out to the short side just yet. So again, it's not the accurate number to the penny or anything like that, but it will get us a very close range. And we'll leave this on the screen actually throughout the day just to get an idea of where we're at. But right now we're only really bouncing into the 0.38% retrace. Obviously the much stronger spot would be the 50 and the 618. If we get down to the 50, if we get down into that 50, that's also matching up with the previous VPOC. So that would be a very good, strong retest spot. We know institutional buyers were stepping in there and they did push it out higher. So I would be looking, and I'm actually going to set an alert here. I don't know if this is the exact low of where this thing bounces to and then bounces off of, but that would be a very sweet retest zone for AMD. Maybe we head one lower to the 618, and I would like to see this hold. So 618, and then you have this other little VPOC here slightly below it. So some kind of a wick off there would be a decent move too. So we will see, but we have the alert set on AMD just in case. It will obviously qualify on the daily chart as so all of these do qualify. The one thing though, because we are gapping going to the bear side, for the other rule with the 10 EMAs, the extended and non-extended 10 EMA on a 3-minute chart have to line up. So if you're going bearish, you have to be below the 10 on the 3 for extended and non-extended hours. And right now, I don't see that we do have that. We might have to still wait a few minutes just to get those things kind of lined up a little bit, but we will see. Another gap down from yesterday. Are we inside still? We're right. No, yep. So Amazon not even going to qualify yet. It's already starting to bounce back. Good little retest yesterday off that developing VPOC, or actually yesterday's VPOC. Still very, very strong gap up. We did run into a little resistance from a VPOC back here, this 142.28 zone. So far we're still holding that. I do expect that to be a little bit of a continued resistance unless the market does just absolutely rally higher. If it does, we actually do have a untested VPOC all the way back at 154.63. So not saying that's happening today. That would be a massive, massive move on Amazon with a shaky day ahead of us. But longer term basis, that would be in untested VPOC area, somewhere in that zone, which I think we could probably get to over the course of the next week or two. We will see. Let's go. I think we covered all the stocks. Do we do Delta yet? Delta was a tricky stock yesterday. We were looking good. We took a bullish breakout, and then we were looking solid for a minute, and then just faded hard on us for that retest. This one, it would qualify at open. I think honestly, there's probably just much better stocks to watch today. If this thing gets below, even that, I mean, if this thing gets below 32.83, that should be some kind of support that holds, and then maybe we bounce higher into like the 33.20 zone, but kind of a tight range at this point. If it does start to crack that and break, yeah, we have probably untested VPOX down to like 32.17, but nothing too crazy. Can we look at SQ? Yep. So we'll take a look at that one. According to this, they did okay. I mean, it looks like, and again, trading view is a little wonky sometimes with what they actually put down. But for this one, it looks like it beat. This one looks like it is a gap down, probably like the rest of the market. So nothing too crazy there. Right where we're at now, we are in a zone of heavy interest. Probably if I zoom out a little bit and I have the other indicator on, we'll see where we're actually at with this thing. Yep. So we are legitimately at the highest point of the last volume area. So this, if this thing is going to continue bullish, you want to hold. So I would even, just because the trade is bullish right now, I wouldn't, if I was to have a stop somewhere, my safest spot for a stop would probably be 77.48. This is a wide stop if I was to put an entry right where we're at now. I do think this level should hold if we're going to continue bullish. And if we start really cracking, probably under the 79.63 zone, we're in some trouble on this one, because now all the volume is to the higher end of this. So we are at a major key support level on this one. I don't know which way they're going to break it, but we've been bullish for a minute. We are still above the 10 EMA on a daily chart. So I would still want to remain bullish, and even all of the POCs themselves have been bullish. This gap is below two of them, and I think it's going to be a little bit of a chop day on Square, to be honest. I don't see anything like clear cut. DKNG. DraftKings. Place your bets. Yep. So this one is this is a gap and go. They were a little bit higher, I think, on earnings. Like when earnings came out, I think it jumped to like 19. So this one did fade, I believe, probably with the rest of the market. Still looks decent in terms of gap and go. Decent volume yesterday, which I do probably attribute some of that to the after hour earnings as well. Just trying to see where this thing can actually get to today. Again, the only problem, so you got to kind of evaluate a lot of these gap and goes. And I like DraftKings. I think some of you guys might be aware of that, but this is a gap and go. We are trapping some bears. The question is, how many real bears are we trapping on this one? I don't know if this is more bears or more profit taking from just really from the $10 mark, this is up about 60%, 65% yesterday, and we did get higher. We were almost up 70% if you were buying at $10 a share. So I would assume that this is probably some profit taking getting into earnings, and I think we actually probably end up fading this gap. And I don't want to say it. I want to be bullish. I would give this thing some time, kind of like what Coinbase did yesterday. I think that would be a good example. Coinbase, well, it wasn't a gap and go, so it is a little bit different. But we had just that big run up into the news that came out. Massive gap, which we're seeing kind of on DraftKings. And it was out of all pivots, out of everything, looks good, but it started just kind of continuing to fade down. So this is what I mean when we have these strong run-ups. And the problem is a lot of these stocks all have those big massive gaps. So I think you're going to see some profit taken on DraftKings out of the gate. When you're up something like 70% in 3 weeks, that people were able to either strongly cost average down on or buy for the first time, people are going to want to, I would assume, take some profits. Be very, very careful. It's going to 19, Rock says, 19 and then fades. All right, we'll see. We'll see. It already hit 19 pre-market. So you're not wrong, Rock. You're not wrong. But now that we hit the 19, I think it's just a fade. I think it's going to fade a little bit. We'll see. We'll see. We'll watch it. Probably some profit taken on the initial candle out of the gate, I would assume, in a worst case scenario. Run looks decent. Yeah. Run. Yeah, this one I think actually looks a little bit better. We do have one VPOC up here. So both are gap and goes, right? Both are red candle sell day yesterday. This one did have a pretty decent gap up, clearing a bunch of pivots, trapping any of the shorts in here, trapping shorts for the most part in here, all of that. Everybody got trapped. Good. Looks excellent. Then you have some selling, maybe shorting, people thinking, okay, double top, good area of resistance up here. We are almost clearing that resistance. If this thing could get past 34.04, we should have a decent amount of room to the upside. And on a swing basis, yes, swing basis looks decent. Again, on a swing basis, I'd probably try to come in a little bit lower, 32.82. Probably throw my stop at like 27.47. And I think that would be a decent looking swing trade in a worst case scenario. But yep, Sunrun has been trapping some bears down in the zone after a very long consolidation period. MSFT. And let me see what's going on YouTube. Yep, Wolf Punch says check out coins. So we just kind of looked at that one briefly. We could go back to it if we get a minute. Microsoft. Yep. So Microsoft again, it is a gap down. It is a retest. It's not a retest gap. It's a gap and go for sure. Clearing yesterday's pivot. A lot of it's not on the official list for 10 EMA, but I know a lot of you guys do trade Microsoft and have very good success with Microsoft using the 10 EMA strategy. So I know a lot of you guys are going to be watching this one. The only area I'd be watching for really 278.80. So again, you have another one. I would give you about 37 cents down to the downside before we start to run into a little bit of hesitation. If we do break that, the next spot will be 275.33. So those would be my two spots to watch. But again, you're still above the 10 EMA on a daily. So right now, at least, we're still looking a little bit more strong than not. Let me flip back one more time to coin. And coin is gapping below yesterday's range. I wouldn't really be that interested in going bullish if that's the direction you want to go until at least 78.83. That's the zone I would be looking for. See if you get almost a full-on retest and then look to potentially go bullish on coin if you like coin. We've come down for the retest. We didn't quite get to that retest yesterday. So I think it could drop a little bit further. We're already seeing it sell a little bit more. So maybe a quick little bounce and then fades into that retest. And then from there, I mean, honestly, it's anybody's game, but that's how I'd be looking. Let's take a look at Boeing. Somebody else said another stock in the chat too, I think. Oh, CAT. Let's take a look at CAT. CAT. So CAT looks a little bit weaker. So here's a 10 EMA. Here's your green candle right under that 10 EMA. If you want to play it how you would play a regular 10 EMA strategy, your entry would be somewhere around 180, 105, something in that zone. So we will see. But yeah, right now you're going to have this little area as some kind of resistance. Real quick too, I know the market's open. And I also got to let my friends on YouTube go, but they don't have to go. They could just join us for the rest of today, the entire day. Cat's at a very interesting spot. So you are bouncing off a 50% retrace. So I don't know what's going to happen from this zone, but this is a very, very strong support on Cat. But if it does break that level, at least into the 618, it's not going to give you a lot of room. It's had a massive bounce, but it's sitting at a pretty strong support for right now. All right, YouTube. Again, I got to let you go, but you guys could always just go to reallifetrading.com. There's a little tab that says free week. I believe you guys could still register and hop in and hang out with us all day long today. Otherwise, appreciate you guys joining us. Be safe out there in the markets, and we will catch you guys later.